Good morning. I don't think I've ever filmed with my lights before, so this is fun. I do have like more up here. You just can't see them. I won't turn them on though because they're purple, and I feel like this is a good vibe right now. Also, I feel like this might get lighter as I talk because it's really early in the morning and the sun is still rising. So if you think it's a little dark, it's probably gonna get lighter. It's cloudy, but the sun is still rising. Don't ask me why I'm filming this early. This is the only time that I have to film this video this week, and I would like to just get it done. Also, can we talk about how cute my natural hair ended up this morning? I love it. But welcome to my February wrap up. I had a good February. Let's just talk about that for a second. I always go into a reading slump in February every year without fail. I did read less than I read in January this year, but my February has a track record of being my worst month every year. 2 years ago in 2020, I read 3 books, partially because I was in Mexico, partially because we didn't know what was happening with the pandemic and there was like some fear going on. I mean, things didn't shut down until like March 15th, I think, here, but like there was a lot of fear and stuff. Last year I only read 5 books, which was also my worst month, but I think that I have broken that this year. I have fixed my February because I read 7 books, and some of them were really long. Like, I think 1, 2, 3, 4 of them reached my reading goal of over 500 books, so that's better than last month, which was only 2. I did so much better this month. And I learned, like, it was a lot of high fantasy. Almost all of it was high fantasy, which was also one of my goals. I honestly had such a good reading month this February. I am so proud of myself, and I am really looking forward to March. But to get us started, I picked yellow for my color in February. So there's my TBR shelf and my completed works. And then we have my reading. I forgot to count how many pages I read, but it was a lot. I did a lot better than I think I did in February, or in January, sorry. And then this was my review pages. So awesome, cool, fun time. Without further ado, we will get started. I read, oh gosh, I gotta remember people's names now. The first book I completed ended up being The Headmaster by Tiffany Rees. I know how it's spelt. I'm picturing it in my head. My manager has told me how to say her name, but this is the book. This is a smutty romance book with a twist, and was recommended to me by my manager because she absolutely loves it. And it was pretty good. I gave it 3 stars because I thought it was very enjoyable. The only thing was I didn't really like the gentlemanly smut that was in here, which seems very weird. I tried to explain it to her afterwards. I was like, he was too polite, and she was like, Darby. Anywho, in this story, our main character, who I do not remember her name, oh my gosh, she is on her way on this long road trip to restart her life. She has broken up with her boyfriend, who decided to go build homes, I think, in Africa, and she needed to move out because she could not afford their apartment, so she's going to go crash on her only friend's house in Chicago, and she's just taking this long road trip to get there. And she has stopped in a diner to get a coffee to keep her going so she can drive another couple 100 miles today before she passes out. And the diner is mentioning this school, and she's like, I'm a teacher, I could get a job. And they're like, you would work there all year round, you wouldn't have a social life, it's kind of boring. And she's like, already done. I have no family, 1 friend, nobody's gonna miss me if I just disappear. And start working at the school where there's no cell service, there's like no contact with the outside world, you barely get holidays. It's just like, it sounds like an awful time. Honestly, I think it would be great. As long as I had books, I would be perfectly happy. But she's like, I'm just gonna go talk to them because they're always looking, the waitress says they're always looking for people to hire. So She goes to go look at the school and she ends up getting spooked by a deer and ramming into the side of the school. And when she wakes up, she's being cared for by the headmaster and some of the students that go there. And there's only about 30 students that currently go there. And they're all boys, about 16, 17, 18 years old. And what she doesn't know is there are some twists and turns along the way as she falls in love with the headmaster. Yeah, that's the spicy bits. He is like too much. She's like, take me on the floor, and he's like, no, I can't do that. I would be rude to be your womanlyhood if I took you like that. And she's like, I fucking asked you to. And it's just, yeah. And that's why I was like, But the twist at the end is totally worth it. You should read it for the twist at the end. It's very quick. It was like 150 pages. It's just an ebook that I have on Kindle. And it was like honestly really, really good. I very much enjoyed it. I had a fun time. It took me like 2 days to read. Like honestly not that much time at all, which was really nice. The next book I read was a beefy one, and I had a lot of fun. Although I don't remember about 40% of this book at all. And it is The Eye of the World by Robert Jordan. Don't ask me what happened after they left the village to when they got separated. I have no idea. I'm sure a lot of people know what this is about. But in case you're still curious, there are these, I don't even remember people's names. Oh my gosh, give me a second. I know Rand, I know Matt, I don't remember the other guy's name. Oh well. There are 3 boys, Rand, Matt, and some dude that starts with a P that I cannot remember his name. So there are so many people in this book that are all attacked in 2 rivers, and they discover from the Iodai? Her name is Moraine. She does magic. They discover from her that they might also be able to tap into the magic. One of them might be the real Dragonborn, and that's why they are being attacked. So they embark on a journey to figure out, first of all, who it is, second of all, what they need to do, and third, how to prevent the darkness from coming in and attacking their world again. And it's just like, this is so big. This was so much fun though, honestly. The fight scenes and the intricacy of this were just super cool, and they embark on like the quest to go look at the Eye of the World specifically, which is so far away. They travel so far. It's a lot of traveling, but they get split up along the way. They all discover their own abilities and powers in their own way. Some of them go through different paths. There are other people that they pick up along the way that are kind of like, I'm going with you, and Maureen is like, I guess you're in this too, and they just bring them along, which is really funny. So there are like so many people to remember their names, so many people that are getting tied into this epic fantasy type thing, and it's a lot. It's a lot, but I have the next 2 books, so I'm ready to keep going. I'm ready to continue on, and it was fun. I ended up giving this one 4 stars also, which is good. Most of it is because I literally zoned out in the middle there, and I don't know what happened. I don't know how they got separated. I just know that they were. I do like their powers and abilities that they grow into though. That was really cool. The next book, I think, is my favorite book that I read this month, and that is The Well Ascension by Brandon Sanderson. This one I gave 5 stars, obviously. This is the sequel to Mistborn Final Empire book. It's the second one in the series, and this was just wonderful. Vin and Elend are ruling the kingdom of Luthadel. Elend is the king. He is doing his best. He's trying really hard to be a king at like such a young age. I think they're like 20, maybe younger in here. And Vin is trying to be the Mistborn that protects him and is watching out for him and is fighting all the assassins that get sent. Meanwhile, there are 2 armies sitting outside coming, we're gonna take your throne kind of thing, because Luthadel is like the middle of the country. So if they take Luthadel, they take everything. Not to mention, there are rumors that there is so much atium stored somewhere, and everybody wants the atium, because atium is that mythical metal that only Mistborns can use, and they use it so that they can see a couple seconds into the future to see what their opponent is doing. In this world, Vin is a Mistborn, and she can burn all of the metals. Some people are only, I can't remember what it's called. Oh my gosh, my brain is not functioning this early in the morning apparently. Some people only burn 1 metal, but if you can burn more than 1 metal, you can burn all of them, and that's what a Mistborn is. And burning the metals lets you do stuff. The most important one that I remember is pewter, and pewter helps you get stronger at everything. You can run faster, you can lift heavier things. It's really cool. If you burn tin, your senses are increased, so you can hear better, you can see better. That one's really cool. That one lets you see in the dark. Really fun. But overall, this story was really cool, and the journey to find the Well Ascension while trying to help a country, the country of the final empire, not fall apart, not kill everybody, but also kill everybody. It was like so fun. I don't normally like a whole lot of politics in books, but this politics, worth it. The next book I read was Stalking Jack the Ripper by Carrie Maniscalco. In this one, I gave 3 stars to. It was very much throw you into the middle of the story, but explaining you stuff instead of telling it to you or showing you. It was just like, this is the tragic backstory. This is all the issues. This is what's wrong with this person. This is what's wrong with this person. And here's the story. We're going prowling on the street looking for Jack the Ripper. And it was just so fast. So fast. And normally, like, some books are really good at just throwing you into the action. This one didn't do it for me. But after you got over that initial, like, this is a terrible beginning, it was really fun and really enjoyable. And our main character, Audrey Rose, who I didn't know her name till about 30% of the way through the book, has a lot of fun stalking Jack the Ripper. I don't even know how else to explain it. In this book, you do actually find out who Jack the Ripper is, which is a wild, twisted, messed up story attached to it that was just gross and creepy and definitely traumatizing. So I'm interested to see how that trauma that Audrey Rose gets in this book carries on to the next one, because I will be continuing. It was very, very fun. She knows a lot about the human body and does autopsies with her uncle, which was forbidden by her father because her father is like, your mom died at an early age and I'm afraid of germs. Terrified person that won't let her out of the house kind of thing. But it was really, really fun. The next book, I don't have my copy, but I do own it. It's called Radar Girls by Sarah Ackerman, and my grandparents are currently borrowing it because I thought it was so good I lent it to them. And my grandmother did enjoy it. My grandfather hasn't gotten to it yet, but she really, really liked it. She read it in like 2 days. It was wild. And I ended up giving this one 5 stars. In Radar Girls, we're following our main character, Daisy, who is a lover of horses. She loves working with horses. She loves riding horses. Her dad was a horse trainer, and she wants everything in her life to revolve around horses. Until Pearl Harbor happens, and when Pearl Harbor happens, she takes Moon out for a ride and then goes swimming, and she is in the ocean when Moon gets spooked and runs off and goes missing. Due to this fact, she gets fired from her horse training job, and in the process of getting fired, she meets up with an army man who was looking for women to come help the military and the Navy and the Air Force. She's just there to help generally with the war now that America is entering it. And her and a bunch of other women are hired secretly to do radar in Hawaii after Pearl Harbor. And this book takes place between Pearl Harbor and Midway. And Daisy along the way makes new friends, and it's kind of like a love story but very subtly, and I really, really liked that. And you get to follow every side character story of what's happening with them. There are the 4 main girls. So Daisy is looking for Moon, the horse that went missing, so she can redeem herself. Her friend Betty is stressed because her husband is a pilot and he has landed in enemy waters and gone missing. Fluff is single and kind of actively dating. Like, if men ask her on a date, she goes on a date, and she struggles a lot because there are some good men out there and there are some bad men out there. And I really, really enjoyed her story arc. That was very fun. And our last friend, Lay, is married and her husband is awful. He has a gambling problem and he lies to her, and she is like, nope, I'm not having any more of this. They're all such complex characters and complex storylines. There's a storyline with a cat, there's a storyline with undergarments going missing, and there's a storyline with Colonel Nixon, who I love dearly, that man. Ooh, he was so cute. And I just overall really, really enjoyed everybody in this story. And I love how complex and what's the other word I'm looking for? I don't know. It was very complex and very enjoyable, and it was so fun, and I cannot wait to read more of Sarah Ackerman's stuff. The next book I finished, I also gave 5 stars to, and that was Serpent and Dove by Shelby Mahurin. This is the first book in this trilogy, and it was so much fun. Oh my gosh, the magic system in here, I didn't expect it at all. So our 2 main characters are Reed and Lou, and we get point of view from both of them. Lou is a criminal. She was a witch. She ran away from home for reasons unknown that you eventually find out why. And she doesn't practice witchcraft for fear of being caught by people like Reed. Reed is a chasseur. He kills witches. It's his whole life living in the church killing witches. And you can smell the magic in the air. Lou goes on a quest to find a ring so that she can hide the fact that she has magic and that smell, ends up acquiring it, and in the process somehow gets married to Reed. She loves this because it's protecting her from her past, while Reed is like, awful. This is awful. I can't be a chasseur with a wife. Oh my gosh. No, this is awful. And it is so much fun. They banter so much in such a way that I highlighted so many things in here that I loved. It was just like constant highlights in here. And I'm sure you just flip through this and find so many things that I absolutely loved. And I wrote in here and it was like a fun time, a fun experience. And I just like can't get over how much I really enjoyed this. And I'm really excited for the next one. The magic system, on the other hand, is gold patterns that they see and then they have to execute something to do the thing that they want to do, and it's such an interesting complex system that I've never seen before. It was so enjoyable to learn about, and I really hope to learn more about it in the next books as well. Alright, we're on to the last one, the biggest disappointment. Remember I read Aragon and Eldred and I rated them 5 stars? Yeah, well, Brissinger was 3. More like 2.75, but I gave it a 3. This was boring up until about here. All this, that was fun. The rest of it, awful. Formality, awful. Talking like the elves the whole time, awful. The moral dilemmas, awful. The conversation about how much Aragon wanted a girlfriend or whatever, somebody to live with him for the rest of his days, awful. Sucked. Battles, amazing. Swords, amazing. Fire, amazing. Everything up until there sucked. This one, Aragon is just setting up for battle basically the whole time. Like, this whole book is maybe like 2 weeks, not even, maybe. And it's like when they're traveling, it takes them like 3 or 4 days to travel places. But like, it's still awful. Like, it still sucked. So whatever. That's all I have to say about that one. Because I was so thoroughly disappointed that I was bored the whole time. I just needed to get it done. It's wasted 11 hours of my life listening to the audiobook. Anyways, those are all the books that I read this month. I'm gonna have to say my favorite was Well Ascension, with very close behind of it being Serpent and Dove. These were great. But this one, definitely my favorite out of all of them. Obviously, I was all over the board with my reading. 3 stars to 4 stars to 5 stars. I think I only had 1 4-star. Yeah, most of it was 3 and 5. So we were just like back and forth between good and bad this month, which is nice to know that I still know my tastes, but it's nice to know that I'm kind of like still reading stuff that I'm like about. Like, it's nice to know that I don't read all 5 stars, because I feel like I was just reading all 4 and 5 stars last year. It's kind of nice to spread it apart from things that I don't like. I don't know if that's like a good thing, and maybe I'm gonna get sick of it later, but right now I'm kind of enjoying doing that. I don't know how else to explain it. But what was your favorite book in February? I would love to know. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!